Hi there, Year 8, and welcome to The Joy of Science. Now today we're going to be drawing all about the ear. You can do this however you want. If you want to follow along at home, you can copy my drawing and write down all the details of what goes on inside the ear. Or you can make a junk model of the ear and send a picture of what you've done to your teacher. Whatever you do, you'll be thrilled to see it. So, we need to learn about the ear because the ear picks up all those sound waves, all those vibrations, and somehow our brain converts that into something meaningful. That all happens in the ear, and we're going to find out how. I'm going to use a marker pen, but you can use whatever you want. So when we start off talking about the ear, we talk about the outside ear, the pinna. Okay, let's draw that on. Okay, so there we have the pinna, the outside part of the ear. And going through it, let's give that a bit of a lobe at the bottom there, and there we go. Make it look a bit more like an ear. So there we go, we have a pinna. And going into it, we have the ear canal. Now the ear canal, what happens is, you get your sound waves, all of those lovely longitudinal waves vibrating the air all around, and they go in, they're collected by the pinna, and they go in down this ear canal. They head on down there. And what do they do at the bottom of the ear canal? They get to a block of, well, it looks like a blockage. It stops things from going in. And that is the eardrum. Now the vibrations of those waves going in and the vibrating air hidden in that eardrum creates a beat. Okay, so we're making that eardrum vibrate. Just like on a real drum, that drum is vibrating as the air hits it. So after the eardrum, we have the ossicles. These ossicles are three small bones. They are the three smallest bones in your body. And we start off with the malleus, with the hammer. And it's called this because it's shaped a bit like a hammer. The hammer bone is attached to the anvil bone. And that anvil bone's just behind it there. Comes out there. There's your anvil. And then we're going to draw on the third ossicle, the third little bone. Ossicle, os for bone, sickle, small. So we've got these three small bones. The smallest of these three small ossicles is called the stirrup. And it comes out here and it goes across there like that. And if you look at it, it looks like the stirrup that you get on a saddle for a horse. The stirrup is, of course, where you put your foot so that you don't fall off. So far we've got the outer ear. So I'm going to draw that on, outer ear. Okay, so we've got our outer ear, which collects all the sound waves and sends them down. And it's stopped by the eardrum. And it's important this eardrum's there. It can collect all those vibrations and it makes them bigger. That's what the ossicles do. They make those vibrations bigger. They enhance them. Okay? But the other thing that you might be asking is, if that works, why do we have earwax? That's a really interesting question. I'm glad you asked that. So earwax is, if you ever had a bath and you've cleaned yourself and you get some skin, dead skin coming off, well, that's great, because when you clean your hand, you can get dead skin off your hand. When you clean your face, you get the dead skin off. You can't clean inside your ear. So what you end up getting is the earwax, which is a mixture of oil and dead skin cells, which is pushed out of the ear. And as it's pushed out of the ear, it means that any debris, any blockages, any dirt as well that's gotten in there, it can come right on out. Okay, so this is our outer ear. The next part, the middle ear. And these ossicles, the three small bones, they enhance. They make the sound larger. They make it louder. So we're getting those vibrations. They start off as small vibrations, and now we're getting a big vibrations, and it's setting up expectations. So we're getting these big vibrations. Now the next thing we come up to, now if you've seen pictures of the ear before, I'm just going to change colour. I'm going to get blue now because I want to do the inner ear. Okay, inner ear. Hopefully you can see it there. I will be bringing the picture closer to the camera at the end of the drawing. So our inner ear consists of something called a cochlea. Okay, and our cochlea is attached to the stirrup. And you're quite right, it does look a little bit like a snail. It's got 3 loops at the top as well. So that's our cochlea. Now those 3 loops, they're really important. They're nothing to do with hearing, but they've got fluid in it. They're called semicircular canals. Okay, semicircular canals. And what they do is all of the fluid inside them, it swishes and it moves, and it can tell you if you stood up. It can tell you if you're lying down because the fluid moves. So this is what helps you stand upright. It's why you can get motion sickness as well, because what the brain thinks if you're moving and what the ear feels about you moving are separate. So you end up with 2 different sensations in your brain, and you end up with motion sickness. So that's why we don't read in cars, so that our brain knows that we are moving, and our inner ear also tells us that we're moving these semicircular canals. Nothing to do with hearing, but still in the ear and still really interesting. Now the cochlea has a really important job. It takes those vibrations, these excitations which have been set up so nicely by our middle ear, by our ossicles, and it takes those vibrations and it turns them from kinetic energy, from movement energy, from vibrations to electricity. That's what the cochlea does. It turns vibrations into movements into electricity. Isn't that amazing? So the cochlea turns all of our signals, all of these sound signals, into electrical signals. And coming out of the cochlea at the back is a great big nerve called the auditory nerve. Okay? And what that nerve does is it goes straight into your brain, and it takes the electrical signal to your brain, and your brain, which works on electricity, and your brain can then understand the sound messages which have come in. Okay, so let's check what we've got. We've got our pinna, which is the bit of the ear that we see. We have got our ear canal, where the sound waves go into. Okay, they're collected by the pinna and they go down the canal until they hit the drum. When they hit the eardrum, the drum starts to vibrate, just like when you hit a normal drum. We'll be looking at musical instruments tomorrow. It then goes into the hammer, the anvil and the stirrup, the three ossicles, the malleus, the incus and the stapes, to give them their Latin names. And these vibrations get bigger, they amplify, they enlarge the vibrations. And then they reach the cochlea, which is the snaily thing. And the cochlea transforms those sound, those movement, that kinetic energy, it transforms it into electrical energy, which travels up the auditory nerve to your brain. And so you can hear. Okay, year 8, your task today, you can do my picture, which looks like this. Okay, hopefully you can see that nicely. Or you can maybe do a slightly better one. You probably can do a slightly better one. And you can describe to me what each of these parts do. Okay, I'm going to be showing you a couple of other pictures of the ear that you can copy as well. You don't have to do this one. So I want you to say what each part does. I've told you what it does. I want you to write it down. Or, if you like junk modelling, you can make a model of the ear. And I'd love to see what you come up with for that. So you can gather all your old cardboard boxes and cartons and cans and see if you can make a model of the ear. That would be amazing. All right, so there's only one thing left to do now, aside from showing you some other pictures. And that is, I am going to sign it. There we go. Smith, I have signed it. It's done. Take care, year 8, and I'll see you next lesson.